Most of what's holding you back isn't conscious. It's not something you think, it's something you believe without realizing it. And those beliefs shape every choice you make. Today, I want to explain exactly what limiting beliefs are and why it's not your fault if you still feel stuck despite trying everything. Hi there, I'm Adriana. I help emotionally overwhelmed, self-aware people decode their subconscious patterns so that they can stop people-pleasing, self-sabotaging, and living life on autopilot. So, what are limiting beliefs really? A lot of people think limiting beliefs are just negative thoughts, but it's actually way deeper than that. Limiting beliefs are subconscious truths that you absorbed as a kid before you could even question any of it. And I said the word subconscious truths, and truths are really important in this context because it's not so much what we experience, but the meaning we created around what we experienced. Because when we're growing up, we don't have the critical part of our mind that's able to question why things happened or understand the possibilities. We don't have the ability to analyze yet. So when we experience things, we take in the meaning and we just assume that it's true. And an example of this is, let's say you were a kid who is super high energy or rambunctious and you were super excited to share something in school, but when you shared it, a teacher or an adult shut you down immediately and said, "Not now, stop interrupting." As a child, you probably didn't stop and think, "Wow, they're probably really stressed today." No, you probably assumed it was about you and decided, "Wow, I can't be too excited, otherwise I'll get in trouble." That becomes the belief. That truth becomes implanted into your subconscious with complete certainty, black and white. As a kid, we don't have the ability to see the full picture, and we often just blame ourselves. We take on meaning because we don't have the ability to separate yet. We don't have the ability to create separation from the experience in us, our worth, our capabilities, what it means to us. So what we experience and the meaning and truths we created around those experiences create beliefs in our subconscious mind. So if you experienced anything that made you feel unloved or incapable or not worthy, your mind doesn't think, "Ouch." It thinks, "Oh my gosh, okay, this is how I should act. This is how I shouldn't act. This is how the world works." And these truths, this meaning we create around what we experience, become beliefs of, "This is who I am. This is how the world works. This is what is allowed and what is not allowed. This is what love looks like. This is how I have to act in order to get love, approval, appreciation, or to feel safe." And once those beliefs become rooted in us, they become a lens. And then your brain starts to filter every new moment from that lens, from that old belief. So going back to the example from earlier, okay, being excited or speaking up gets me in trouble. Now your brain is scanning every interaction from the lens of this belief, which means your brain is scanning every interaction to make sure you're not being too excited, you're not being too much, because in its truth, in its black and white thinking, it thinks that if you do those things, you'll get in trouble. It filters every compliment, every criticism, every silence, every facial expression through this lens of that belief. You're not conscious of this. It's running under the surface, but your subconscious is constantly scanning and constantly asking, does what I'm experiencing line up with my belief? If it's yes, then green light. If it's no, then you panic, you freeze, you avoid, you sabotage. Our beliefs become our lens of how we view the world and how we act based on how we're viewing the world. So think of your beliefs as a GPS that you didn't program. But instead of saying something like turn left, it's saying something like don't speak up, it's not safe. Or don't try that, you'll get in trouble. And you don't question it, you just follow it because it feels like truth. You're just trusting it the same way you trust your GPS to get you from point A to point B. Right? You don't question if the directions are right or not. It's programmed in there. You're just following it. You're just following your belief system. So even if you want to end up in a different destination, you keep getting pulled back where you started. Not because you're doing it wrong, but because the directions in the GPS are outdated. Your belief system is outdated. The subconscious truths that you picked up are outdated. They're not true. You didn't get in trouble for being excited because you're not allowed to be excited. You got in trouble because that person was stressed, or you got in trouble because you were being too loud at an inappropriate time. It's not about you and your worth, right? There's a bigger picture behind the belief, the truth that got implanted. It's outdated. So, how do limiting beliefs secretly hold you back? Let's talk about a real life example that happens in the day to day. So, usually what happens is step one, life happens. You get a text that says, let's say, hey, can we talk later? And then step two, your belief kicks in. If your belief is, I'm safe in relationships, then you see that text message and you think, okay, cool, I'll hear from them soon. But if your belief system says people always leave me, then you get that text message and you panic, you spiral. What did I do? Are they mad? Did I do something? I don't know. What's going on? So then step three is that you have an emotional and behavioral response based on your belief. So again, if your belief is I'm safe in relationships, your emotional behavioral response is calm. Maybe you move on with your day. Maybe you check your phone a couple times because you care, but there's no anxiety. You're not spiraling. You're just like, okay, we'll have a conversation later. But if your belief is people always leave me, then all of a sudden you're anxious, your heart's racing. You start apologizing, maybe you start text bombing them, maybe you start overthinking, maybe you withdraw, maybe you freeze, maybe you run. You react not to the text, but to the belief underneath it. You're not reacting to the fact that you got a text that says, hey, can we talk later? You're reacting to your belief that says, people always leave me. And you're assuming that that text is lining up to your belief and that your belief is playing out again. And then you're acting on it. And then usually step four is that you reinforce your belief. You start over apologizing, you bombard, you cause them to withdraw because of your reaction. And then guess what? People leave. So this is a very dramatic example, but you can see how your emotional response will reinforce your belief. And this creates a vicious cycle and it creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. But it's running under the surface. You don't even realize it. It's happening so quickly, so unconsciously. You're just acting out. You're just behaving. You're not choosing to sabotage yourself. Your subconscious is just keeping consistent with what it knows, with the beliefs that it knows. It's doing its job. Your subconscious is always assessing, is out here familiar? Do I understand what's out here? Can I predict what's out here? It's not saying, is this healthy? Is this right? Is this logical? Is this realistic? It's not asking any of those questions. It's just asking, is this familiar? If it's not familiar, guess what? It's going to make it familiar. It's going to reinforce your belief system. It's going to drag you back into the vicious cycle, the self-fulfilling prophecy. This is just how it works. You can either fight against it or you can learn to work with it instead of against it. Which leads me into, why are limiting beliefs so hard to change? Because your subconscious thinks that it's protecting you. If it could keep you in the predictable, it can keep you safe. So your subconscious does not want you to have access to be able to change your beliefs. Imagine if we could just change our belief system just by speaking it into existence. How chaotic would that be? How chaotic would it be if the way that I operated just changed every time I decided that I wanted to be a doctor? Or if I decided that I wanted to be a professional soccer player, if it just believed that that was true just because I said it, can you see how that would probably cause chaos in our life? Our subconscious is preventing that. If it can identify an identity-based belief system, then it knows how to operate in the world. It's actually a good thing. It's actually a good thing. It just feels like an enemy because it's caused us chaos because we haven't understood how it works. So, what do you do with all of this? First, stop blaming yourself. Every single time you have tried to take action, you've gotten stuck, you've tried to change, but have ended up back into square one, it's not you. It's not a you problem. It's just that you didn't use the correct tools to actually access the part of you that is driving your automatic thoughts, patterns, and behaviors, your subconscious. So that is step one, is to stop blaming yourself. And two, you can get clear on what the beliefs that are running your life are. One of the ways that I love to do this is to journal, what would I have to believe to keep repeating this pattern? So if you are aware of the pattern that you keep repeating, this is a really great question to journal about. What would I have to believe in order to keep repeating this pattern? This helps you pinpoint what belief might be running the show. And newsflash, there might be a couple beliefs running the show. There might be different beliefs for every area of your life. So you might have to journal about this for each different pattern or each different area of your life or each different moment of stuckness. And then another one that I love, if you're trying to achieve a certain goal or a certain outcome, whether it's career or relationships or building a certain habit, one question that I love to journal about is, what might my subconscious be trying to protect me from that's keeping me from getting this outcome? Is it trying to protect you from potential failure? Is it trying to protect you from potential abandonment, rejection? Do you believe that you can have the outcome? If not, why not? Why don't you believe? Is it something about you? Is it something about the world? Is it something about other people? Why don't you believe that you can have that outcome? Or if you do believe you can have the outcome, what does your subconscious fear would happen if you actually have it? These are kind of the questions that you want to be asking yourself, because once you understand your belief system, then you can work with it. And if this is interesting to you, I actually have a course on this that allows you to go deeper into the subconscious blocks that you're experiencing so you can understand and learn what's going under the surface. You can learn what your beliefs are. You can learn what your subconscious is trying to protect you from. It gives a lot of clarity and a lot of awareness around the things that are actually contributing to your behavior changes, your emotional reactions, and the reasons why you keep self-sabotaging. So it's super powerful work. I'll put the link in the description if you're interested, and if anything in this is like, oh God, that's me. So that's an overview around limiting beliefs. I'd love to know in the comments what your takeaway was, what you learned from this, and maybe if you feel brave enough to share, I'd love to know what beliefs are keeping you stuck. Because when we can vocalize them and we can share about them, and they actually do lose some of their power, and it helps people feel not alone in what they're experiencing also. And if you're looking to understand subconscious blocks on a deeper level, I actually made this video so that way we can go deeper into that topic. So I'll see you over in that video.